comedians should be quick-witted and be able to respond to people and deal with hecklers and whatnot. Kevin Hart, one of the most successful comedians of all time, he got packed up on a Clubhouse stage. And I think that's a world that celebrities are not ready for. And if you were the manager of a celebrity and you knew stories about what happened to Brett Weinstein, what happened to Kevin Hart, you would probably demand of the people that you manage, don't go anywhere near that fucking app. And so they're not going to get the celebrities. We're not going to invite our family and friends. So I don't really know what their growth strategy is. I really don't know what they can do. Go for it.
If you were the executive producer of a TV show that had 10 million viewers a week, would you consider that successful?
It depends. If it had 50 million the prior week, no.
Okay, but it consistently has 10 million, because that's advertising money. And even though Clubhouse doesn't advertise, this app still has 10 million active users a week worldwide. Here's the thing. We've been pigeonholed into these corners of Clubhouse. But like if you look through your algorithm, you look through your streets, right? Bro, there is Persian rooms that have 5,000-6,000 people in it at a time.
Are you going to go in there and learn Persian?
Not at all. But what I will do is we should try to expand our audience and see and tap into the 10 million active users. It's just my opinion.
Well, the biggest growth on this app, and it's started a couple of years ago, was when it went live in India. If you think about what this app can allow you to do in terms of, I mean, you can have, you can get rid of your fucking phone bill if you really wanted to. You can certainly get rid of apps that, you know, like Zoom and things like that, where you do conferencing. You can set up rooms to have these conversations. There's a lot of use cases that you could do. And in India, I think they are doing it. But I don't think for American audiences, I think the peak will never get back to the level that it was. I think 2021, that was the apex for the American audience. And I don't know about you, but I wouldn't know what to do going into an Indian room other than maybe ask them for a recipe for lamb vindaloo. I mean, like, I just don't know.
I just want to say this real quick. When I first came on the app, there were significantly more Europeans than I do now. I find it rare, like outside of the one crazy front guy, you never hear of anybody from France. You really don't hear that. You'll get some English people on here, but it used to be an Irish contingent and a Scottish one. But you don't really hear the Germans, except for Hans, who comes in on occasion and runs some weird room. And then you've got, none of the other, like no real Spanish users on here. They're usually Hispanic in nature, mostly Hispanic American. And so maybe some Caribbeans, but you don't really have the global expansion that it could offer. The Indians were the biggest boon as far as an outside America presence. And even they have, I would say, what you'd say, Roger, have gone down to like an eighth of what they were originally. They're not as big as they used to be. And I think, it's just going to the fact that, like, some of the thing is like what Roger said, is you have to be tough to be out here. You have to be able to withstand it, be called every name in the book, have somebody say that they're, going to dig your wife up and fuck her. You've got to have all of that shit. I mean, you've got to be able to take it and then just, like, be able to dish it right back. You've got to be quick-witted, and you just have to be strong. And I think what we overestimated was the strength of a lot of people that came to Clubhouse. All these stars that were there, they just didn't have the ability to stand up to a direct verbal confrontation.
That's true. You have to have a thick skin for Clubhouse. And, I don't know, Brad, like regarding the celebrity thing, I think at the end of the day, as far as anyone who doesn't want it, when I was going on my rant about like, well, who cares if this room right now that we're in is being streamed on YouTube. But for a celebrity, especially if they have a recognizable voice, I mean, honestly, the only celebrity I still see once in a while is the guy who played, I don't know, anyone familiar with The Wire, the guy who played the lawyer for one or two of the gangsters.
What about just Steve
I
Bateman?
think
She's still on
it's
there.
also just perhaps like the toxic masculinity that has.
Oh, come on.
Oh, I knew this was.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, Dismal actually wasn't. I wasn't done yet. I just wanted to real quick if I could finish.
Don't kick her. Don't kick her, please. Whoever. Don't. Kick her.
Yeah, let's have some entertainment. But so to JB, to your point, I don't deny that there's 10 million users worldwide. That's traffic. If they're going to try to finally dump this app once and for all and find some sucker. I mean, some a spirited entrepreneur wants to turn this thing around. But like Dwight put in the chat, I see like 15, 20 rooms with in my hallways on the regular, and not just like the people that I'm following or sort of topics that I like. Like, for example, I don't follow anyone in Biblical Smoke. Maybe I made the mistake of going to one of their rooms to see what is the attraction. How are these guys getting 700-900 people on the regular? Like, if Biblical Smoke has like 200 people, I'm like, wow, slow day. So, I see a lot of the religious rooms that attract, a good number of audiences, if you will. And the other ones are like these Eritrean political rooms that have like a few hundred on the regular. But again, I don't understand how they can't just fix the basic bugs. I know it's like first world problems. Am I being too high maintenance to say Clubhouse, Rohan, Paul, please have your engineers just spend an extra hour and just fix that bug where we have it indicates you have messages when you don't, or is that just another shiny thing they want to keep engaging with us?
Moose, let me just say something. 2 seconds. Victoria, you can give your toxic femininity all you want. I don't really give a shit. But just want to say, breaking news, Kamala Harris has said she will not be running for California governor, which says to me she's going to be running in 2028. Again, Victoria, let's hear.
Wait, hold on before Victoria goes.
Sorry.
Hold on. Before Victoria goes, I just pulled up some stats for the month of June. From June 1st through June 22nd of 2025, 80% of global Clubhouse downloads for that period came from India. Now, if that's consistent across the board, that's crazy. They're by far the largest, and everybody knows that. But that's 80% from June 1st to June 22nd. That's a 3-week period where 80% of the downloads came from India. This app may fucking thrive after all, but it's not gonna be an American.
Do they have a reason for that? Do they have a reason for that?
Oh, hold on.
Why?
Sam, we got to go to Victoria, otherwise she'll cry the whole room.
I was just trying to follow up on what.
Yeah, and really quick, Victoria, I appreciate your patience. Just a deeper question for anyone in the room.
Moose,
Yeah.
please let the lady go.
She's been waiting. Fair enough. Go ahead. Ladies first. Go ahead. Go for it, Diz.
Victoria, do you want to cry?
No, I think if we look at who ruined Clubhouse, like you're already leading with a preposition, like you're the premise of something being ruined. I personally found many rooms with people from different European countries, different Asian countries, and I had travel rooms, Chinese idiom rooms.
We get it.
where I met people from countries.
We get it. American men are bad. We're bad people.
But I think unfortunately, what we're seeing is a reflection of sometimes having too many people in a party doesn't make the party better. And I think where Clubhouse started to decline was unfortunately not making it invite only, not making people responsible. People can just create profiles like myself, for example, because you no longer want the attachment to the other followers, for example.
So, Dismal, hold on, Sam, just
go ahead, sir. Yeah, go ahead.
Dismal, I have a question for you, and I just need some clarification, and I need your own words on this. Did you state that you worked as a presidential advisor across 3 administrations?
No, I've.
She said she hold on. She said she briefed the president, 3 different presidents in the Situation Room.
No, also, Biden was vice president at the time, so it doesn't count. But
your words the other night was 3 different administrations. You were in the Situation Room and you were briefing them, and then you didn't explain what you briefed them on, which is fine. But I think what Brad's asking is for you to acknowledge that, because it was when he learned of that.
Sorry if that irks you, Brad. Not trying to impress, just stating a fact.
Respectfully, Dizzle, I think he's just asking for you to confirm the claim. I don't think anyone suggested that they were somehow intimidated by.
Yeah, I'm definitely not intimidated by it. I just wanted you to verify with your own words the statements that you made in an earlier room that people had advised me you made. And I'm just giving you your fair chance to provide any clarification, any nuance you wanted to state in regards to it.
And I already responded.
I can claim to have met 3 U.S. presidents, shook their hands.
Have you ever been in the Situation Room?
Depends on the situation.
No, I've never been in the Situation Room, but I met 3 presidents. I met George Bush Sr. shook his hand, Bush Jr., and Bill Clinton.
Did you wash your hands after you shook Clinton's hand?
No, I did not. No, I did not. That's funny.
What I wanted to ask earlier real quick was to the point of usership on this app. I mean, I don't know. I think Dismal Victoria was done, but when you add, like, so to were the folks that everybody here interacts with off the app in air quotes real life, on the average, when you ask them, even during the pandemic, when they had the captive audience, when they were peaking, if you've asked, hey, I was on this app Clubhouse, pandemic stuff and all that stuff and political stuff, and it's, you try to describe what the app is. What would you say on the average, 1 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 8 out of 10 of your friends or coworkers or people you've just talked to actually even heard of the app, let alone used it?
0 out of 10.
Exactly.
I'd love to hear more from Dismal about the toxic masculinity that killed this app. Victoria, can you tell us about the toxic masculinity that killed this app? Is that possible?
I think it's like you're not bringing on new people, obviously. Like,
Who's you?
Who's
you?
The male voices in this room. You're the definition of toxic masculinity.
So let me ask you a question. Hold on. If I want to ask you a question. If we had 25 people in the room, they've never been on Clubhouse, who do you think they're going to listen to before you or me? They're definitely not going to listen to you and your batshit crazy theories and you being in the Situation Room 3 times. But I'll open the room and I'll get all 25 of those people to come in. So I guess masculinity is not that toxic. Maybe just to you.
Sorry, me being in the Situation Room 3 times, I didn't say that. I've been in the Situation Room many times. What are you trying to prove?
I don't have to prove anything. Every time you speak, you prove it yourself.
What were you working for the federal government? What was your role?
This is like the problem that I literally highlighted, and you're proving it. It's so brilliant. I don't even have to share anything more.
I'm just asking what your role
Victoria, I think it's fair to be critical of the way people may or may not behave on a stage. That's absolutely true, and I would never take that away from you. And I think that even on the stage right now, we could both probably point to the same things and be critical of them. But I don't know if you can attribute that behavior specifically to them being male, even if it was males. So I don't think that you are proving your claim about toxic masculinity by using the current station as an example. I'm not saying that you couldn't. I think it's more embarrassing to make the claim in the first place.
So,
but I definitely don't think that just because the band doesn't
maybe
think
I'm not going to highlight the people.
Victoria, just I'm not sure. I don't know what's wrong with you, but you can never let people finish. Specifically me, you're gonna let me finish, but I want to give you the opportunity to actually defend your statement if you want to, because I don't think it's a good reply to say that this stage is proving you true.
So I used to host rooms and discussions, and the reason that I stopped is because there were a lot of these like toxic male characters that showed up. So if we're looking at why did this app decline, I think it's because there wasn't proper or appropriate gatekeeping. So we ended up with a bunch of trolls, and trolls unfortunately are not like obviously not going to attract more people to the app. Nobody wants to be on here anymore.
Yeah, a lot of people have said this about trolls. I don't think trolls are inherently male. That I would just quibble with you attributing this to men somehow, unless you're trying to say that some kind of internalized toxic masculinity is exhibited by trolls, regardless of your gender. I don't know, but
May I was here in the beginning of Clubhouse, and so was Victoria and Brad and Mojo. We were the invites, and it was definitely different when it was invite. And when they started opening it up to non-invites, it just became, it kind of got ghetto a bit. Some rooms and some places, you just had really low IQ people. It was a whole different vibe before they opened it up, and I can understand why they wanted to open it up to increase their numbers that were on the app, so that maybe they want to sell it or so. I mean, they had a substantial financial offer for this app, and they turned it down. I'm sure they regret it now.
Well, hold on. Everyone talks about the offer that they got. I've heard about the valuation of $4 billion, but there's no proof that there was ever an offer made, unless you can correct.
Oh, you know what? You've got a point there. Yes. No, I stand corrected. There was a valuation. I'm not sure about the specifics of a legitimate offer, but you are right. There was a huge valuation for this.
That's a good point. Go ahead, JB.
I just need to publicly apologize. Brad, I want to apologize to you publicly for ever fighting with you over this woman. She's what killed this app. The toxic femininity on this app. When you can't even ask a simple question without any bass in your voice, and they turn around and say, see, you're proving my point. Brad, man to man, I sincerely apologize to you.
Takes a big man to apologize. And I was just going to say, go ahead, Mojo. I think you were going to say.
I was just going to quickly say, it's been a long time, but Victoria, do you remember when you and I hosted a room?
Yes, yeah, I do, actually.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're trying now to lump me into this category of like these toxic men. When did you turn on me?
Well, she's still muted. So I was going to say real quick. So first off, yes, you're correct, Roger. When I said earlier about the valuation, I didn't say they had an offer, but yeah, they were valued at billions and billions. And I just want to say, I think Kelly pretty much summed it up well. Regarding her, I have to say, somewhat outlandish claim. And I know Victoria knows me from other rooms. She knows them on the left. But to come in here and say, well, all these male voices are the reason why this app is down, you can't say with a straight face that there aren't women on this app that come to fight, that come for the accident, that come for the train wreck, that come for the content. I think the toxicity is actually equal on this app. Maybe not out there in the real world, but it most certainly is on this app. You cannot just to pigeonhole that it's only the male, and then there is masculine toxicity.
I think that's actually like a fair observation. But there used to be I remember logging in on this app and seeing 3 different rooms at the same time that I wanted to be able to listen to. It's About Time or Science Society or other rooms. These were all like intelligent people that were contributing, and the only content that we see now is like, how can you burn somebody, how can you troll somebody, like even just changing the name of this room, for example.
There's a room right now that's run by women. It's for RPO, research purposes only. They have some male mods, but I believe it was founded by women. And literally the room title is, would you rather be a child predator or queer? That's not really a kumbaya sort of room.
What I basically said is basically the gatekeeping, not having invitation only to the app. You end up with like a declined population of people.
Well, Victoria, you've already made this point. So even though you want to now back away from the claim that you didn't actually get to finish because nobody really wanted to hear it because everyone was presuming it would be bullshit, but you did say toxic masculinity. This is a claim that you made. You did not expand upon it. I tried to give you the opportunity to do it. But I understand and appreciate that it is an inconvenient truth at this point, but we do not need to then rehash something else that you said to pretend like you never said that. It's fine. Like, I think...
Shy, I think you're in the Matrix, son.
Totally appropriate thing for you to agree that moves...
Shy, you keep cutting out, hon.
I think she was just trying to say that I agreed that there's also women that are equally toxic.
You don't need to take more time to repeat yourself to distance yourself from what you said. Like, everyone remembers. So let's just move on to others that want to speak, unless you...
Well, I like to just say one final thing before we move on. I find it funny that you complain about this room, other rooms, but you're in there consistently. There is nothing stopping you other than that nobody will show up from opening your own rooms. That's just my opinion.
Hey, JB, I heard your apology. There was no worries. I never really had any concerns over it. I don't even remember the arguments, to be honest with you. That's how short-term those things last in my head. So there's no need to apologize.
Look, I'll be the outlier here. As much as I can offer pushback at times to Victoria, I actually enjoy having her in the room.
I just wanted to hear the clarification on the comments, Roger. That was all. I was just intrigued by that. Not that I've ever been in the Situation Room, but I will say that I find it dubious that someone of Victoria's ilk would be in the Situation Room. It just does not strike me as probable.
Well, that wasn't even the most interesting part of her submission the other night. The most interesting part was the way that she was made to feel by Donald Trump. Donald Trump, was it a look or was it a comment, Victoria? Maybe she doesn't know she's on mute.
Hey, Brad, I have a question for you. What do you think's more believable? Joe B being in the NSA or Dismal being in the Situation Room for 3 presidents?
I'll go with Joe B.
What about Edmund's claim that he works for the IRS?
I actually might believe that one. He is kind of crazy. Those IRS people aren't, they're not screwed down too tight. You know what I mean?
I could believe him working for the IRS. I mean, he is crazy, like we all know, but he's no dummy. He's quite smart.
I actually want to help him with his political campaign.
Not again, because you and I have helped. What? We are now on, what would this be, 5, 6 people so far that we've helped and donated and offered assistance.
Well, they don't really listen to us, Brad. They just, they want us to do rooms with them, but they don't really listen to what we have.
Shit, I helped raise money on one of them. I put them in touch with people. Gerard wrote fucking things. I mean, we did whole speeches. No. I'm not helping anybody that's running for office. And one of the fuckers used to be on Clubhouse and then got elected. And it turns out he was a whole different person. He had as many personalities as Victoria did.
How is Gerard doing?
He's doing good. He's doing his thing. He's actually getting more and more in depth with the RNC and political circles. So he's moving up the chain, and he's doing his thing. He's rocking it out.
Do you guys remember when we did the fundraiser for the guy that was running for U.S. Senate in New York, Tom Queter, and he needed he had a wheelchair that he's bound by, and he needed a new one. His insurance wasn't paying for it, and within about an hour, we raised $11,000 for him to get a new wheelchair. That was one of the more interesting rooms.
Yeah, we also helped Tom Slocum. You know, not that I really personally liked him, but we helped him massively in ways. I mean, not that you're going to win against a guy who's got a 98% approval rating for his district, but I mean, we still offered the opportunity and the assistance, and we thought it was, you know, a long shot in the wind, but we gave it our all. I'm not helping anybody that's running for office.
If you could bring 3 people back to the app, who would your 3 people be?
Keanu Reeves, and Keanu Reeves.
I'd bring KB back because I thought her rooms were hysterical when Clubhouse Season 1 first started. I'd probably bring Chris Ruby back. She was entertaining to a point, and it wasn't that you wanted to listen to her. She just seemed to have a really strong network to bring people on. And then I'd bring the Net Geo individuals, the reporters and the investigators that worked for the various Net Geo research foundations. They used to hold rooms, and they were fucking amazing. They were brilliant, filled with people doing a variety of things.
Who was Mojo? You remember that guy from Season 1? Early 20s. I mean, his New York accent makes JB's accent sound like Midwest. I think his name was Alex. He had big rooms. He would really push the envelope.
Alex New York?
Oh yeah, Alex New York. Is he still on here?
No, he hasn't been on here in a while. And I will say this: he was easily one of the most gifted people on this app when it came to understanding what buttons to press, how to get a room going. If the room didn't start fast enough, he would just end it and start a new one. Alex New York, I've had private conversations with him. That dude needs a podcast. That dude is quicker witted than probably anybody on this app.
I think Tyler's tech news around the world, Paul's It's About Time, and there is a guy who led a lot of philosophy of language rooms, warranting. Those are the people I would bring back.
All the fun people.
They had It's About Time on Saturday morning had many people.
Do you see how annoying it is when you get cut off before you're finished, Victoria? Or excuse me, Dismal. That's why I muted you before you were finished to make that point. So please just keep that in mind moving.
If I could bring back 3 people, I would bring back Ned. I think Ned was the best at what he did. I think the way that he moderated a room, where he was able to get the crazies in, but keep them in check, and but also bring highly intellectual people to the table. I think he would be a value add if he were back. Other people that I would want to see come back to the app that I think would be a huge value would be something like I don't know if you guys would even remember some of these people. Well, Justin Higgins, as much as I thought he was kind of a twerp, he was very good at getting people that he was getting sitting congressmen, former directors of the CIA. He got a lot of interesting people onto this app to interview them. I didn't like the structure that he had, but the structure that he had was the only way those people were going to agree to come on the stage. And unfortunately, what he did was he quickly abandoned his interest in this app because he got delusions of grandeur. So Justin Higgins and Ned, I think those would be the top two that would bring value back. And then, and then, believe it or not, I think even just bringing. Bringing back Hunter Shackelford. I think Hunter was such a character.
Who is Ned, and what room did he lead that I perhaps missed?
Ned used to do rooms all the time. Kelly, how would you describe Ned?
Yeah, Ned generally had pretty open discussions with really. He would have interesting people like a variety, not some sort of set panel, but a lot of the people that people have been here for a while would have considered, like, I guess, heavy hitters, things like that. I'm in community with them, and so they would spend time in his rooms, and generally the topics would be current events, like often steered towards politics, but also often steered toward, I hate to say like culture war issues, but like that's what they're often reduced to now. But this was, years ago, before people were having these kinds of discussions in the same ways. And Ned managed to keep the conversation really efficient, even with the, quote unquote heavy hitters. He had a way of managing the stage to keep them from dominating, being boring, etc., and also including randos that he didn't know. And it was interesting. Like, I don't know, he would explore these topics and people had fun stuff to say. And randomly, Lex Friedman, Eric Weinstein would come in and actually speak for 5-10 minutes or even get in conversation. So a lot of people would like hope that would happen. But even if it didn't, they were accessible conversations about things people talked about, but weren't really discussing in like the public conversation yet. And
I really appreciated. Do you guys remember Cami? She would have rooms that she hosted, basically making tech news accessible to average people. Scientific and basically STEM related topics. Nobody knows what I'm referring to?
I mean, because Cami may have done that, but I think what most people probably remember her for is kind of just being like this silent mod. It was like always a mod on almost every stage. Given that she didn't, the discussions you're talking about, but most people don't remember her from that, at least on this side of like political clubhouse, I guess. Lack of a better word.
She did a ton of like
really quickly. Hold on, just a second. Hopefully, I wasn't breaking up when I responded to you, Roger. But do you think that was a good summary of what Ned's rooms?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's probably one of the smartest people, one of the best communicators, and what he was able to do is take his time to curate a space, and instead of like doing the volume of rooms like you and I would do, like marathons, every day, or the room would last a week or some shit like that, Ned would be like, maybe once a week, maybe twice a week at the most, and he would put more thought into it, and because of that, I just feel like the quality of his rooms, I don't think there's ever been anybody that's had higher quality rooms than he has. That's my opinion. Cammie's an interesting one. She's somebody that would follow me, unfollow me, follow me, unfollow me, and then she once Healthy Debates started like blowing up, then she was definitely following. And then we'd do the whole thing where we'd bring her on the stage and we'd give her a mod badge, and she'd just park there, probably not even listening to the app. But she did these rooms that she would open, and she'd be like, okay, guys, this room's only going to be open for 15 minutes. Let's say something positive. And I'd sit in there, and, like, people would go around the room saying the most fucking mundane shit. And then she'd just be like, okay, everybody, I'm gone. And then the room would be over. So my experience with her was that I thought she was a clout chaser. She did seem nice, and she actually has real world experience, which, you know, that's something that most people on this app can't say. You know, like where she's done some cool shit. But the way that she engaged was definitely very clout chasing. That was at a time when they thought that, hey, as long as you have followers, somehow, some way, you're going to be able to monetize that. And like, I wouldn't say she was a grifter, because I don't know what her grift was, but she was definitely in it for the.
Don't bring back that phrase, those clout chasing phrases. Oh, I hated that in season 2.
I think it's interesting.
I'm with you on there, 100%. The cloud chasing was so bizarre, and to JB's point earlier about all the grifters on here, I didn't realize like everyone and their mother in the kitchen sink were life coaches.
Yeah, there are definitely those things. I will note like a couple of times that I've seen Eric Weinstein on the app, it was in Cammy's rooms.
Eric Weinstein was a regular in Healthy Debates.
He came to all the rooms. He would bop around all the time.
Yeah, he was one of the 50 people that they made it where when you downloaded the app, here's the 50 people that you might want to follow, and then you could click one button and you're following him. And as a result, he had like 8 million followers or some shit like that. That's why when he would come in the room, like we used to refer to it as the Weinstein bump. Back at peak popularity, if he jumped in the room, you would get about 100, maybe 200 people, and if he jumped on the stage, you'd get about 800 people that would pile in. So like there was a huge jump when he would pop in.
What was his deal again? Was he a big financial guy? What was
he used to work for Teal, but he's a mathematician, but I think most of the things that people would know him for is just being part of that quote unquote intellectual dark web, and going on the podcast circuit and talking about things that used to be people were uninterested in. It used to be people would listen to Drive Time or Sports Talk Radio or whatever, and then when that explosion of like these public intellectuals came, he was just one of those. Him and his brother Brett.
He was also fun in the political spaces because he seemed to have a flair for it. He liked having the discussions, and he would stay for a while. I know a couple of times he parked up there for a couple hours. And I was like, Jesus, guy's brilliant.
Yeah, I saw him in a lot of the philosophy spaces. He definitely parked, but I don't see him anymore on this app.
The last person that had much of an audience, that if you want to call him that,
he would sometimes randomly appear in Kemi's spaces.
Lex just didn't like the recorded part. He did not want to be recorded.
What Lex appreciated about
what did he do?
Lex Friedman's a podcaster. He's an engineer. He's if you listen to him, some people love him, some people hate him. He speaks very slowly, but he likes to get people on his podcast and get into some pretty deep conversations. He's had Elon on his podcast probably more than I don't think. You could probably add all of Elon's podcast appearances on other major podcasts together.
Rogan's had it more.
No, there's no way. Absolutely no way.
As far as Brett Weinstein, he started a podcast called the Dark Horse Podcast that he does with his wife, who's also another professor.
That's Brett's podcast, right?
Yeah, Brett and his wife.
Yeah.
Brett kind of lost his mind over some of these things. Like, you know, he wanted to start the Unity Party. That fizzled out, and then he went into like the claims that he made about COVID were pretty crazy. I think most people have kind of discredited Brett at this stage.
Well, he knew it wasn't a wet market early on, and his master's thesis was in bats. So some of it he wasn't totally right. I'm not defending him; he is crazy, but some of it in the beginning was interesting.
I think that's totally fair. I think he fell prey to that, though. I don't know if it was the thing that we refer to as audience capture now. I don't think it was quite that. I'm not sure if it was he felt being in the spotlight for being considered heterodox and having a point of view that he stood by that was later proven correct. But it's as if his ability to discern fact from fiction or base a claim on evidence as he had before was completely lost to that moment of glory.
He first came on. Okay.
No, sorry, I was just gonna say, and I don't know that he's come back from that. It's pretty sad.
He first came on my radar because he and his wife were both professors at Evergreen University in Washington State, which is one of the most liberal universities in the country, and declared that
used to be. They sued and won a large court case from them. They used to.
No, yeah, yes, that's why he first came on my radar, and there was a day that they wanted all the Caucasian people to stay home, and he thought that was ridiculous and went, and when they ended up protesting, and they got both of them fired.
Yeah, that's also the university tied up physically the president. Those protesters tied up and kept the president in his office and made him communicate without hands moving because his hands were offensive. It was a pretty crazy period.
I wonder whatever happened to all those COVID, the ones that were eventually debunked, all the Dr. Copeland types. I really wonder what happened to them because they used to have such a massive following. And even some of the people on the stage, I'll point to one. I don't know if she's still here because I'm driving, but these people were going from room to room and regurgitating all of that stuff. And I find it fascinating that they're no longer on the app. It's just wonder where they went off to, and just kind of wish they would come back because it was entertaining for.
Dr. Catherine is still on here.
You said Dr. Copeland. Dr. Copeland he's been on the app for the last month. I just saw him for the last month or two for sure.
You know what was funny? Dr. Catherine was pretty well liked on here by most people. And when she got over to Chatter, she was one of the people that would turn on her camera and she would just sit there and pose for the camera and do duck lips and drink wine and then she'd get up and she'd dance. It was very fucking bizarre. And even though I thought she was, I don't know, I wouldn't say I liked her, but I didn't dislike her. Most people were like, what the fuck is up with this chick? It's when she was on Chatter, that's when everybody was just like, dude, she's a weirdo.
Oh, she's just having fun,
One thing that I noticed, there's somebody on the stage and the profile, all I see is 18 plus NSFW.
Not safe for work because his nipples are out if you look at the picture.
Sorry, I'm not able to see it, and yeah.
The person is clothed, but it's because, I don't know, whatever. It's just the breast area, but it's a funny picture, but I can't change it, and they won't help me change it. It's the craziest thing.
Dawn, are you on drugs?
No. I don't do drugs, Roger. And I don't drink. No. I'm down. Why? Because I said they won't help me change my picture. And I have an Android. I don't have access to change this. Once you have an NSFW.
Nope, your PTR had nothing to do with my question.
What? Because, well, I have had mouth surgery a few times.
All right.
Maybe it's the way I speak. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know if I want to say this, because there's no way this is going to come off and sound polite, and I don't mean to attack you.
That's okay. Good.
Okay, it sounds like you're either on drugs or you've had a stroke. That's what it sounds like to me.
Oh my God, that's funny. I'm glad you told me. I'm glad you're honest. No, it's probably because of the mouth surgeries. That's what's going on.
No problem, and I have no beef with you. I think you're a sweet person, and I appreciate your presence on it.
Oh, thanks, Roger.
So did we determine who killed Clubhouse? Can we agree that it was the boring people?
Yeah, it was.
I say I never tamed it. I say it was the trolls. Not single handedly, but I think the trolls played a major role in killing Clubhouse.
The trolls.
I blame Hikima. If he spent less time creating children and more time focused on the app would be a better place.
100%.
So basically, if I stay off the app, it'll be better. Okay, Brad, got you.
I mean, you already have a football team. I mean, you might as well add a baseball team and a lacrosse team and a soccer team.
He made at least one superstar. You got to admit.
Not superstar yet.
I think the decline emerged when, like, how many users there are became a higher priority into, like, is the content, like, good? And quality had been gatekept because people had invites only, and their accounts had to be represented by somebody who invited them. And so there was like an accountability process that occurred in the beginning that doesn't exist now. That I think is where things started to unwind or decline. Even though, like, if you speak other languages, like, there are large rooms that occur, like Chinese rooms, for example. But getting more app downloads from India probably could even just be like a farm. But like, are these actually active users? I don't know.
Well, they do have Indian rooms that run all day that literally have thousands of people in them concurrently at any time.
I think a lot of different perspectives have been brought up, and while I think each of them in their own merit may have some impact, I think that the people that killed Clubhouse were the makers of Clubhouse.
You know what I think is, it's not productive. It's preventing people from meeting new people. So when I look at my hallway, right, I think this is the entire Clubhouse world, and it's not. It's not even 1%. So there are so many more rooms and people that we aren't aware of, that we don't have access to. And I think that that's what's holding growth back also.
You know, another thing that happened that killed the political rooms is that once the election got close, well, actually, once the election ended, political rooms were pretty dead because people that were center left didn't want to be in the room with people that helped Trump get elected, and so that was a big thing. They were, I think they were embarrassed. I think that their predictions, they didn't want to have to stand in front. They just didn't want to hear Trumpers brag, and so they just disappeared. And they didn't disappear. They went into their own little echo chamber, and that's unfortunate because the good rooms all had one thing in common, and that was trying to bring people together from different ways of life and different ways of looking at the world and bring them into a conversation. Maybe this app has a chance after Trump's out of office, and maybe, maybe when the Trump is gone, you can get people together that want to talk to each other again. But I think that the political conversations are going to continue to be circle jerky.
But I mean, here's the thing that we noticed with like my group, like the political compass. Like we couldn't. We first, it's a full-time fucking job, just like you and Kelly running Healthy Debates. It's a full-time fucking job. It's not something that you can't just put thought in. You have to put in designs, format. You have to do research. And my team and I, we would spend our time in our off. Like we'd have discussions, call each other on the phone, and work. The night before, like, all right, everybody got their little packet. Does everybody have what they want to talk about? Do they have it down pat? You got the counter arguments. And so we would look at those and we'd say, all right, we're going to curtail it this way and make sure that we try to stay in this area of the topic and not veer too far off. And that, sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But you're right. Like, a lot of people would come in and they would bridge gaps. And we did for a while there in the midterms. Trying to get people registered. We were offering people like how to go about it. We would find their locations online, where to go. We'd do a lot of research and help. And people were like laughing at us, but like we wanted people to go vote. That was our big thing. But I don't know, if I were to open a political compass today, all the topics would just drift with what the PC is. Like if you look at political correctness, their topics are just anything anti-Trump. And it's just weird. Nothing is good. No trade deal is okay. No steps towards peace is fine. Nothing this man does is at all good. And then you get like the Victoria trolls that just will continue to go on and on and on. And it's boring. Like, what are you going to fight?
I used to run like a Chinese idiom room, and with people that I fundamentally probably I wouldn't be in alignment with on a political basis, but we were able to host a room together, and we were able to bring in people like different world perspectives. And I think that's like what's unfortunately being lost. Like manners no longer exist. People think that it's acceptable to just insult individuals, and I've even found myself like doing that at times, and I like it's ridiculous. Like, so accountability requires that people actually buy in to something, and sorry, I just feel like I've learned so much about different people in society on this app, and I'm not like feeling very positive about it anymore.
I think you're right, but I have to tell you, I really like how you articulate every word properly. It's beautiful.
You know what I'm noticing has decreased is the amount of people that want to come onto the stage and instead of make us a point at all, they center their entire argument around the person that they're arguing with is a racist, and that they can just dismiss their entire point of view because of that. That has slowed down a lot, to be honest. Like, it's still there.
Do you think
it's slow?
Do you think, Roger, that it's truly slowed down? I think generally speaking, it has slowed down. Like we talk about, I don't know, the direction that we're going, whether it's media, social media, interpersonal interactions. I think that it has. On this app, though, I'm curious if you think that slowdown reflects what we're seeing in the rest of the real world, or if it's because maybe the biggest perpetrators of that kind of thing, they don't present themselves in mixed company on the app anymore, as you were just saying. Like, there aren't diverse points of view on very many stages like there was. And so, because I've noticed the same thing, but I don't know that it's an improvement as much as it's just a reflection of the lack of engagement.
I think it's also a fatigue. I think the racist fatigue thing is really starting in the crossfire. You'll hear like black fatigue or ratchet fatigue or liberal fatigue or MAGA fatigue, for the left. And you'll hear this time and time again, Kelly. And I just think people are just so sick and tired of like, okay, everybody's racist. Who gives a shit? Let's move on. And that's pretty much the context of what every discussion I've been in. And even on Twitter, where I'll jump on and listen, no one has time for it. And in fact, those people that were screaming the most are often the ones that are just booted down and forgotten about. So I don't even know if Hunter Shackelford, if she came back, I don't know if people would listen to her. I honestly don't. I think she would probably be dismissed. I think they would just not give a shit because they're just like, we're so tired of that one talking point that you just constantly only comment on, and you have nothing else to bring to the table.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things. So I think, Kelly, the idea that, some of the people that would be most prone to do that, like if you had to put a name on it, it would be people like Dr. Articulate, right? Like that would be like the poster child of that, right? They're not going to show up in a room like this anymore. They just won't. But also, the reason why I think they wouldn't want to is because there was a time where somebody came and said, "Oh, hey, Roger, that's very racist." I would actually stop and think like, "Oh, did I not say my point clearly enough? Like, maybe I need to restate my case." And I felt like I had to defend myself. Now I've realized Clubhouse has taught me that if you're called a racist, it's probably a positive thing, because the person that's arguing with you is such bad faith, and they're trying to dismiss your argument because they can't refute it. And so what they want to do is label you something bad, so then, in an attempt to try to beat down your argument. And I think once upon a time on this app, it was effective because people in the audience and people on the stage would go, if this guy is racist, I don't want to align with him. But now, because, they've cried wolf so fucking much, the average person doesn't give a fuck. They're just like, oh God, the race card again. Get over yourself. And so now, like, I don't even bother arguing with people if they tell me that, that they think that I'm a racist. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. The main reason I asked the question, though, and then Victoria, you can jump in if Roger doesn't want to reply to this, is because it still happens in spaces where that kind of interaction is welcomed. Obviously, it's not happening in like a contentious way, right? Unless someone random like happens upon one of their stages and they get chewed up and spit out. But and I don't even mean to like make a claim against one side versus the other, because this is something I notice in left-leaning spaces. You have other behavior that you'll see in right-leaning spaces, and like we already said, we don't have much cross-pollination. Anyway, seeing that happen makes me like, I understand that still it's still one of the weapons that people are using to fight in the quote unquote big war, I guess, whether it's a culture war or anything else. So it's still happening. I think you're right. They're probably not going to get the feedback that they would get before, the satisfaction, etc. And the incentives are different on Clubhouse than in the real world. I think ultimately the thing that it makes me recognize is that the echo chambers are the biggest thing that I think will keep people divided. I don't even mean just on Clubhouse. If you only watch Fox News or you only watch MSNBC, if everyone in your family you share a political point of view and you don't talk politics except for with those people, like that's going to be the worst. That's going to be the thing that contributes to however long we like sit in this purgatory of having very little in common that we recognize.
Yeah. How are you guys seeing it on other social media? Like, because I agree with what you're saying. Like Facebook, for example, there was a time where, the families were having it out with each other. I feel like the purge has already taken place where the people that don't want to argue or don't want to hear the other side, they've just blocked each other, and I don't think that's a good development. In fact, I think it's a pretty bad development. I think the way that we'll get past it is, I think when Trump is gone, I think there's going to be an effort, would be my guess, for people to lighten up. If by the way, if the left wants to repair the damage control to their image, they need to get a sense of humor. They don't even need to change their perspectives. All they really need to do is just get a sense of humor and a sense of humility and quit acting like they know it all. And if somebody the whole own the libs thing, if somebody makes a joke and makes a mockery of a leftist position, the most powerful thing they could do is, instead of trying to battle and refute it and call the person a racist, all they should do is just laugh and say, "Oh, good one." And that would completely nullify, the escalation of those tensions. But I think what's weird is, when I was a kid, the stuffy people, the people that didn't allow criticism, were all on the right. And now it's like it's shifted to, it's not that the right it doesn't do this anymore, but now the left is doing it way more extreme than the right ever had. And so that's why I think the middle have abandoned them, is that the sanctimonious assholes, there's more of them on the left now than there are on the right. And I think that's probably the big.
I don't know. I think a lot more people abandoned the left, as evidenced by their online footprint, their podcast decreases, their reach, their favorability ratings in polling. In fact, they lost in an election that we all knew was coming, but the left was very hyper focused that they were the way forward and everybody should agree with it. And then you see the world at large refuting back on the ideas of where the left was once there. The Angela Merkel faction of Europe is more or less ostracized out of politics now. They're getting pushed out, and they're being rebelled against by the people that they govern over. So I don't know if you're going to get the left to agree to that. I just think a lot of people are just leaving the left, saying, I just can't deal with it, and they just keep growing smaller and smaller, and we'll just start over under something post-Trump. We'll just have this bigger tent that we'll just have defection now.
I think the biggest factor that I'm at least observing is just we're not appropriately socializing people into society, and we have when I was growing up, at least I was a Girl Scout, and that Girl Scout promise, on my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. We're not, there are a lot of people that don't even know what the Girl Scout promise is, or just haven't fundamentally been included. And I don't want fault them for that, but I do want to fault like the states that are taking resources away from educating people or providing these types of platforms for people to be socialized. And I think the vast majority of Americans would actually agree, like on certain social, like form a social contract and agree on many policies and terms. We politicized everything. It's baffling.
It is. I agree with you. I don't like, and I'm not. This isn't a gotcha. I'm just trying to point out something that I think makes this more difficult. When you say everything has been politicized, yes, but it's difficult in my mind to call that problematic. Even though I appreciate the outcome that you're trying to point to, like you even politicized your response to then say that things are too politicized. Like I think when some of the institutions that were relied on for a long time they don't keep up with the needs that they're meant to meet, and people want to see change. They want to see that change. I don't know that people always have the correct solution, and that takes time. But when there's trouble, it's meant to be politicized. Now I get it. You don't want that to mean that people cannot be friendly with one another. But let's just take the example of you saying, I blame the states that have taken resources. I can appreciate that, and I even think I could defend it, but I could also defend someone who would argue with that and say that, socializing a child should not be the state's responsibility, and I mean the government, whether we're talking about a state or the federal government. And I think that it would be fair for people to have that conversation, or even to feel that way. Maybe they would be incorrect. Maybe they would be correct. I don't know. That's where the conversation goes. But how far are you from thinking that even though you blame the states that take resources and don't socialize children, how far away are you from being able to say, like, that's my point of view, but I think it's fair for someone to not think that should be the job of the government?
It's interesting you say that, because everyone's got an idea of a problem they want to solve, and the first thing that they talk about is the government's role in it, rather than even asking the question of, like, what is the government's role in this? So it's just, I don't know, it's gotten bizarre to me. We should focus our attention locally, in my opinion.
So what I was referring to is, unfortunately, there are localities, probably not where you live, Mojo, but there are localities in the United States that don't have substantial resources and rely, unfortunately, on U.S. federally allocated taxpayer dollars. And those are the communities that are feeling like they've been dismissed, they're the flyover territory, etc. And we're seeing like the consequences arise. And
but that's been a 50-year, 100-year freaking fight. Like the flyover countries, the Rust Belt, have been complaining for fucking a century. I mean, since the 70s. Like that's not a new argument. That was something that was actually held by, like, I would say one side of the political aisle much more vociferously. Not that they did as much as they promised, nowhere near what they promised, but they used to be that champion for that. And now to hear it come from another political faction, it comes across as hollow, because And remember, they just cling too tightly to their Bibles and guns.
But I think you've actually just like illustrated my point, which is that I think there is like a centrist argument, or many people would probably just say, yes, we want children to be educated, we want them to be obedient, we want them to behave appropriately and socialize them into the world. I don't think anything that I'm saying should be controversial, but we're politicizing it because it's me who is saying it rather than you.
That's actually untrue. I don't know, unless you're speaking specifically, Brad, but I don't know why you would assume that someone politicized it because you, Dismal, made this statement. I was very clear and tried to even speak slowly and ask the question in a way that if you didn't understand it, it would be easy enough for you to say so and have me restate it. But I only asked you if you were able to set aside your belief of what is true, not set it aside so that you don't believe it anymore, but set it to the side long enough to appreciate that there might be an honestly held opposing point of view. Maybe that point of view is wrong, but other people may see it differently, and sometimes, for fuck's sake, and sometimes at least being able to acknowledge that is half of the battle. But you couldn't even acknowledge that. You just disregarded what I asked you altogether and restated and then made an accusation.
Ellie, I've honestly had to set aside beliefs that I held, that I thought, oh, this is true. Like the U.S. is a moral authority, and I've reviewed the evidence right now.
Victoria, honestly, please don't do this. Like, I feel like this has been somewhat productive. I mean, if you want to crash out, I'm sure everyone will enjoy it. So you can do this rant if you want. I've heard it 1,000 times, so don't do it for my benefit. If you want to answer the question directly, please go ahead. Otherwise, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in like the performance that you're about to do. But again, I'm not going to stop you. Like I do often in an exchange with you, and I hate that this is the fact because it didn't used to be. And as much as I disagree with so many positions that you hold, I have respect for why it is that you hold them, and I have a lot of respect for often how you've gotten to them, what informs them, all of that. The problem is that I don't think that this is intentional at all. I'm not sure what's causing it. Like I said, it's a more recent development. You either willfully or you're either willfully not acknowledging the communication coming from other people, or you're intentionally ignoring it, or you don't know that I don't really know what's causing it, but you're not actually engaging with anything other than your own point of view. And when you come up against somebody who just asks you if you're willing to do that, you just start restating more of your points of view. This is a thing that you've done on this stage today. You've done it a lot recently. I actually think that this is a huge problem. I don't know how to. I think it's a big problem on both sides, honestly. And I don't know how to get through to people that do this, where the only thing that they are holding on to in this frantic way is what they believe to be true, and they're not going to have a discussion outside of re-announcing those things.
Well, that was fun while it lasted.
The original title of the room was talking about who ruined Clubhouse, and there was a conversation yesterday that Lou had on here, Lou Fax, about it was a Clubhouse reunion, and a lot of people joined that room. A lot of people joined his rooms, frequently. But some people had returned that hadn't been on the app in a while, and then today, Jonathan Bing felt the need to start a room saying Clubhouse reunion ? Y'all are the ones that ruined Clubhouse. And so then that's why I opened the room of like, well, who did ruin Clubhouse? I would argue that Jonathan Bing should probably not criticize anyone on Clubhouse, considering I think he's probably the least interesting moderator that I've seen. I did like when he was on Spaces and we were in the early going of Israel's response to Hamas, and he was unapologetic about, killing the terrorists. I liked his take there, but boy, is he. I think you could make the argument that Jonathan Bing's type of room is what the biggest contributor to ruining Chatter, but rooms like his are what ruined Clubhouse also. So maybe you can make the argument that that Jonathan Bing is probably the worst thing that's ever happened to social.
Sorry, is this the Million Man Marathon guy?
Well,
Debate the News more, but he was a.
Yeah, Million Marathon was Nelson. I thought Nelson did a good job. I think Jonathan Bing was always kind of like a sidekick. Like, he used to do real estate rooms with Jerry Malcolm, and Jerry Malcolm was the draw for that. When he was in Million Marathon, Nelson was the draw for that. Debate the News, similar. Like nobody goes to listen to hear what the fuck Jonathan Bing has to say. They just don't.
Is Chatter still a thing? Like, is that app like actually live? Do people go to it?
Well, let's let David respond to the question that Roger asked.
Roger has a great question. We talked about it, but it's occurred to me, because we haven't heard Kelly. I'm just going to say this. You're what I've missed in Clubhouse, and I didn't realize it until I heard you say. But thanks for your point of view and how rational you are. So it's been good to have you back.
I'm offended, David.
I guess I should be proud.
Thank you, David. I've missed these stages, but carry on. So go ahead. Go ahead, Dismal.
No, I was asking, is Chatter still like live? Is that something that people actually are actively on?
Yes.
Well, obviously not now, because nobody in this room is on it now, I would imagine.
Yes, after now.
Yeah, I mean, they just released. I think within the last month they did a public release. They've been on beta this whole time.
What are your thoughts on it? Like, I'm
going to respond about Jonathan Bing because this isn't this isn't like a chatter combo. Or we might go there, but I'm going to respond about Bing to Roger because it's more on the topic of what ruined it. Like, Bing is a good soldier. Content-wise, though, without Nelson, it's difficult, man. And I hate to hold that against Bing because when he's not being an asshole on purpose, can you blame him for, I don't know, being a good soldier in that way? But when he is an asshole on purpose, it's really easy to say that, like, he is a fucking detriment to Chatter. yeah, he really fucking sucked on Clubhouse. And you're completely right. And I guess this depends on how you feel about the conflict in general. A really shining moment for him was on Spaces talking about that conflict. And I actually wonder if it's because he wasn't a soldier in that moment. He was actually, talking about something he believed in. Because he's even better in the real estate rooms than he is in the other rooms. I don't know. Like, I know lots of people are clout chasers, and the ones that are good at it can. You believe that they give a shit about what they're talking about, even if it's something completely stupid. The ones that are bad can't convince you of that. And most people are just bad at pretending to give a shit about something. Most people are not naturally gifted salespeople. Interestingly enough, I guess that's how he's made his money. But he can't translate it into every topic. And he is just he's petty. That's why it's not because he's disagreeable or boring. It's because he's petty. That's what makes him toxic.
Yeah.
From my optic, what I witnessed, at least with people that migrated to Chatter, was that it was like absorbing a number of people that I would label as trolls. And so I'm curious, how has that app performed?
Why would you say they're trolls?
They were not invited. They didn't join Clubhouse with invitations or people that can vouch for them. They were the worst of the worst.
Victoria, if you had to say, you've been in my rooms a lot. What would you say are the worst qualities that I have in these spaces? What do I do wrong? What critique?
Do you really want honest feedback?
Yeah.
First of all?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking for.
Okay. I would say that you sometimes dominate discussions. You mute people or allow people to moderate that maybe aren't qualified to moderate, and so they mute people mid-sentence. But I think you do, I would offer as good or positive feedback that you are able to bring people in, and people obviously want to join your conversations. So you're succeeding at that.
Yeah, I think ideally less moderators are better. The only reason you don't have a mod badge is because you have a pink ticket. I modded everybody else.
I don't feel comfortable joining a club called In the Muff. It just, it reads awkward to me.
What do you mean?
What does it mean to you?
In the Muff? It's a place where we gather. We're in the Muff.
When I read it, I didn't have that same observation.
Oh, well, help me understand. Because I always look to improve. What did you read it as?
Basically just an indecent name.
Oh, I see. No, okay. So I hear what you're saying. So, where is the etymology of this term? Have you ever played golf?
No. I mean, I guess I technically I have, but I'm not good at it.
Okay, got it. Yeah, well, there's a term where, if the ball is in the muff, you got to play it from the muff.
I just think that you could probably change the name of the club, and it could be more positively responded to, people would want to join.
Okay, so what if I changed it to being positive in the muff?
I mean, honestly, like, it doesn't matter because, as you so rightly highlighted, the app is in decline, and people are only like seeing rooms based on who they follow. So the titles no longer matter, apparently.
Yeah, well, I think they do. I mean, like, look, if you think that it would draw more people into a discussion if I changed the name of the house, I could be open to that type of feedback. It sounds like you read this to be something that I didn't intend it to
I read it to be pretty offensive, and that's okay. Like, you have built a community of people that like you, and
would you say you like me?
I respect you, and I've already yes, we've hosted a room together previously.
I mean, that's like almost the equivalent of going steady, I would say.
I mean, that makes the name of the house seem more appropriate.
So getting back to you respect me, and I appreciate, respect is a good thing, and it's typically earned. But my question was, do you like me? You kind of pivoted from that. Do you not like me, Victoria?
Is this a serious question?
It's a small room. I thought we were just, I was asking for feedback, and so I'm just curious. Like it sounds almost as if you want to say that you don't like me, and I would welcome the feedback if that's true. Oh, are you on the phone? I see your phone emoji. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I would welcome your feedback, and if you don't like me, I'd love to understand the feedback of why. I'm in a growth phase of my life, and so if maybe you provide some feedback, maybe I can make some changes, and who knows, next, maybe it'll lead to you liking me more.
Sorry, I keep getting a call. No, I think, I mean, yeah, I generally like you. I like Kelly. I like even Brad, and many people in this application that.
Who do you like better, me or Brad? Who do you like better, me or Brad?
Sorry, what?
Who do you like
this
better?
Isn't a but there is no
We're dudes. There's always a competition.
There is no competition here.
There definitely is.
Liking people, like, I have an immense amount of respect for the fact that you are leading rooms on a routine basis, and you're able to attract a crowd and gather people. That, like, social intelligence, I think.
But your dislike for me, your dislike for me though, is it because I'm black?
Oh God.
Okay, carry it back to Kelly's previous comment about some of these trolls.
Alright. Brad, you win. You won her over.
I concede before any challenge was preemptive, so she's all yours.
She can't resist Thomas Hidden Church.
That's a good point. Victoria, for the record, I like you. Period.
Are you guys still going steady after this?
I don't know. This sounds like she's breaking up with me.
But there's a new word, Roger, called exclusive. You don't have to be steady, but you can be exclusive.
Can we be situational?
even
I
better.
don't know. This whole conversation is making me pretty uncomfortable.
Is that because you're attracted to me?
That usually happens, right? Like, you make people nervous when they're attracted to you. Would you say you're nervous?
Well, we know she's not attracted to me, Roger, so I think you're going to win out on this one. Her palms might be sweaty right now, and she's having problems on you.
No, it's okay. I don't want to badger her. I like Victoria. Like I said, I like Victoria. And we hosted a room. I thought it was a good room. Thought she did a great job of co-hosting with me. And I don't know. I wouldn't say that was. I don't think wedding bells were happening, but I think for Clubhouse we went steady once.
This is less steady for sure, though.
Yeah, if you do like this, I'm getting the same feeling that you get when, the breakup is imminent. I don't feel like we broke up quite yet, but I feel like she's looking around.
Is this like your second longest relationship on Clubhouse here that you've had, or situational ship, if you want to?
I don't know, man. The one that I've had with Monica has been like off and on for like 4 years. So that one's been that's been my go-to. Although Monica and I have an open relationship now.
Is she even on this app anymore? I don't hear her voice.
Would you acknowledge that she has one of the best voices of this app?
Vocal fry is all I can say.
Well, that's necro. I don't think. Do we think Monica has vocal fry? It's something more like a baby. So.
She makes every topic seem like she is entering the world for the first time. So I agree.
Her voice reminds me of all those stupid Disney princess movies from back in the 90s that I was forced to have to watch or take my daughters to that I can't stand, or like the movie The Last Unicorn, the voices on that one. That's how you can tell I'm a father. The fact that I know a cartoon named The Last Unicorn. I think that's what her voice reminds me of. And I'm just like, as a parent, you're just annoyed at the mere notion of that high-pitched voice.
You're a good dad, Brad.
I have to say, though, and Roger's the person who showcased this, for all the reasons people state when they say they don't like Monica or complain about her, the go-tos are, at least as far as I know, still without evidence. Is that right, Roger?
I want to just state for the record.
I'm just curious. Like you were the one complaining about socialization.
No,
previously.
when
So there's
Monica
just hold on. I just asked a question. I don't expect you to pay attention to me. A lot of people don't pay attention to me. Honestly, I probably just shouldn't say anything. But usually you can tell by the tone of someone's voice and the inflection at the end of a sentence whether or not they asked a question or just made a statement. And the polite thing to do, if one were well socialized, is to allow anyone to answer it. You sound too eager when you jump in that quickly. You don't have to give enough time for me to be sufficiently responded to at all. But to prevent from embarrassing yourself, you should pause so that people don't think that you were poorly social.
Can I answer your question, Kelly?
Please.
Yeah, I don't think there's sufficient evidence to say that Monica's a racist. In fact, I used to challenge people if they had a screenshot or if they had a clip of her saying something racist, go ahead and expose it, and I would pay $500. And nobody could answer that challenge. Akima
Do you remember what you offered as a submission of evidence that Monica was racist? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
With the ghost.
It wasn't an attempt to win $500, but just to prove she was racist.
Do you still have that image? Can you post it?
I gotta find it. I'll try to find it. I got it somewhere. Give me a second.
All right, cool. But I don't want to continue talking about Monica. I don't want to make Victoria uncomfortable. And me talking about other women, considering that we were going steady on the clubhouse. I don't want to be respectful.
I just wanted to go on record stating that I don't like Monica. I don't like her ideas. I don't think she has great things to say in general. However, when her account was eliminated, I still defended that Clubhouse bring her back. I thought that was wrong. I think if you disagree with somebody, you don't just eliminate them. You don't just block people. And I think that's where society is like breaking apart from my perspective.
Wait a minute, you just stated that Clubhouse needed to remove people, that you wanted it back to invite only, and that you wanted other voices to be silent, particularly those that disagreed with your viewpoints. Earlier, I'm a bit confused by your two statements now.
But Clubhouse is open to everyone, and I don't think Monica is a troll, for example. I think some of her arguments are probably not well thought through, but I don't fault her for that. What I was referring to by the opening of Clubhouse was the invitation to trolls, essentially. There are a lot of people that have multiple accounts. There are people, including in this room right now. I think Anon with the clown is Edmonds, for example. That guy, I would definitely ask to leave if I were hosting a dinner.
Hold on. No, I've got it on good authority that Anon with the fingernail polish at the very bottom is Edmund.
Okay, well, whatever the case, yeah. So these gentlemen, not gentle, not men, arguably, I don't want them in this app.
Why?
I don't think they contribute value.
Why? Because I think Edmund is actually quite intelligent. I think he can articulate a position. I think he does.
Has he
what
ever
everybody else
actually been on a stage?
Yes.
I have never heard this.
Last night he was on the stage. We were talking about his campaign. He's running for Congress. We talked about my disapproval of him recording rooms back when the app didn't have this anonymous feature, but I've acquiesced because the app itself has basically said that Edmund is one. Because as you pointed out, he's in the room. You were wrong about which account, but that's irrelevant. He's here. He's streaming the room as we're speaking. And the thing is there's nothing I can do about it. Once upon a time, if I would have identified his account, knowing that we were streaming, I could remove him from the room. And we had a lengthy conversation, hours last night, talking about the pros and cons of that. And, people made points about their privacy and, whether they consent to be recorded or streamed. And all of those things are moot points at this point because the app itself has said that not only are they not going to stop them, they're not going to give me the tools to do anything about it. And so we just have to live within the confines of the world that we live in. And so the reality is he can stream the rooms
And we could then make a choice, knowing that he's going to be in here, to either not join the room, maybe not use the app at all. We could show up in the room and not talk. We could listen, or maybe we modify the kind of things that we talk about. But the option that we don't have is removing him from the room. So we just have to accept that, and then we have to modify our behavior based on our own comfort level.
See, I think that's where we potentially approach the world differently. I don't approve of garbage communities, and this is a communal space.
Like Haiti?
And sorry?
You said you don't approve of garbage communities, and I said like Haiti?